All right. Call this meeting to order. Have a roll call, please.
Aiken.
Here.
Bear.
Here.
Harness.
Here.
Here.
Scarborough.
Here.
Kenworthy.
Here.
And Spice.
Here. Call the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Going down to our minutes. October 1st and November 13th. Have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the October 1st, 2012 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
November 13th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from regular meeting dated November 13th.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Move on to citizens' time. It's a chance to hear from our citizens. If you could just come up to the podium and just state your name and if you have anything you'd like to speak about.
Suzanne Leak, and I want to talk about the hurricane relief effort, if I could. I feel that the response to the hurricane relief effort that was done by the broad band of communities, friends, and neighbors is a disappointment to the position that you hold, the townspeople you serve, and to those that step up and sacrificially serve others. And this would specifically be to Ms. Fair and other council members that may have supported the letter. Rather than commending and praising the efforts of so many who coordinated and gave up their time and resources for this hurricane relief effort, you have only tried to condemn those efforts with negativity. The attitude that has been displayed regarding the hurricane effort is a disgrace, trying to create negativity because you did not personally receive a phone call and did not know about the relief effort is nothing short of, let's say, ridiculous. Not only did you write a letter complaining about this, but you sent a copy to the Gainesville Times. Now, what possible reason would you have to do that? Of course, hoping to create some negativity over something so positive. Let me tell you that you have only succeeded in banding together a community. Relief efforts are about serving others. They're not about serving ourselves. As you know by now, this effort had nothing to do with you. The town itself, town resources, or town personnel. We all wear many different hats at many different times, but we do not wear all hats all the time. The mayor, through his employer and his employer's resources, coordinated this effort, this last-minute, expansive, incredible effort. And you should be standing side by side with the people you serve of this town and surrounding communities, praising all of those who came out and stepped up at the last minute and put this effort together. You should be proud that the town has people and representatives who are willing to give of their time and their resources to unconditionally serve others. Although this was not a, quote, town effort, the town has received a lot of credit for it. Sadly, this is simply one more item on the list of many which you and other council members continue to try and breed discord and play power struggles between the town, its elected officials, and personnel. Serving is not about control, and serving is not about power. It is simply about serving. If you cannot put your personal interest aside and step up simply to serve those who you were elected to serve, then I encourage you to step aside and allow someone who can serve to step up and serve. Because we, the people of the town, deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Ken Larson from Jefferson Street. With the new road, with the road being repaved and the bike lanes being put on, it raised a little bit more concern with me about people using the bike lane as a bypass to go around left-hand turn vehicles that were trying to turn, do a left-hand turn. So I kind of put together this packet for the safety problems we have. Since I don't speak well, get tongue-tied in crowds, I just wrote this up real quick and put it in a packet form so you guys can digest it and discuss it later. But I'll read this for the crowd. The issue, the intersection of Jefferson Street and Washington Street, of course, State Route 55, is beginning to see more traffic as the Haymarket, Gainesville area grows. Since the intersection is landlocked by its surrounding buildings and cannot be expanded to support turn lanes, congestion due to left-turning vehicles is growing, while the impatience levels of the motorists are shortening. This leads to a safety issue with cars using the bike lanes as a bypass lane to circumvent turning traffic. This concern is obviously shared by the town and VDOT because pedestrian walk signs have been installed at this intersection. However, it does not address the safety of bicyclists. Therefore, I would like to request that the town council take action to determine and enact a solution that will address the issue. The follow-up to this request, I put in a recommendation. The recommendation is pretty much to use the construction pylons that you see diverting traffic. What I put for the solution is to prevent or deter motorists from using the bike lane as a bypass lane. I recommend the council enact to permanently install flexible traffic posts, the ones that are used for diverting traffic for construction. You can see them up pretty much at where Gallagher and the railroad tracks are crossing. Just put one on each of the four corners, right pretty much where the bike lane, the paint strip is. This will, and by doing that, you will actually solve several issues. Besides blocking the motorists from using the bike lane, it will help warn bicyclists that the intersection's coming up, and actually subliminally make them more alert to look for turning traffic. And of course, the conclusion would be by blocking traffic from using the bike lane, we increase safety of pedestrians and bicyclists crossing the intersection, reduce the possibility of vehicle accidents caused by bypassing vehicles colliding into left-turning vehicles, and reduce congestion by guaranteeing that when we have opposite opposing left-hand turn traffic, that they can actually turn without worrying about a car zipping by and smacking them. I'd like you to take that into consideration. I mean, the costs are really minimal. You're looking at about $50 per post. Of course, the post will probably have to be replaced fairly often, in the sense of probably like once a year. So, you know, it may still be a budget strain, but I think it would be a minimal solution to what we need to deal with. Thanks for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
My name's Heather Laddig, and I work for AEM Corporation, and we are starting an early education facility called the White Oak School. And I'm here tonight because we're interested in renting the school building behind the town hall building. We're an independently owned and operated school servicing ages 2.5 through 6-year-olds. It's a preschool through kindergarten. Our school will run primarily from September to June, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 to 3:30, with staggered start and stop times for the classes to reduce traffic in the parking lot and in the building. We plan to enroll 50 to 80 kids and employ 18 to 24 staff members, and they'll not all be in the building at the same time. Our intention is to use the entire building as well as the playground area behind the building. And on an average, we'll have 15 staff members' vehicles parked in the parking lot, and then parents will utilize the parking lot during the morning drop-off and afternoon pickup times. We are a school that values all children and encourages them to reach their fullest potential, and we want to nurture them to develop the goodness of heart. And our primary focus is to create a lifelong love of learning and reach all the aspects of each child through emotionally, socially, physically, spiritually, and intellectually. We have a whole child approach. Our curriculum incorporates academic lessons, hands-on learning, virtue lessons, and songs, and enrichment classes like art, music, movement, science, and foreign language. We have an amazing and professional staff who are diversely trained and experienced and are dedicated to giving each child the best learning experience possible. And we've chosen Haymarket for our home for a variety of reasons, but primarily for the small town feel and for what the town has to offer to its community. It's centrally located for all of our families who are traveling from Haymarket, Gainesville, and Warrenton, and neighborhoods like Piedmont and Dominion Valley. Several of our staff members live in Haymarket, and some of them have lived here for 20 to 30 years and have raised their families here. And some of our staff members are just starting to raise their families here, so it would be very convenient for our staff members also. Our goal is to become an active participant in Haymarket and to do our best to make this relationship work for all parties involved and to just help make Haymarket be an even better place to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Annie Jenks. I'm the PTO president at Buckland Mills Elementary School. I met a couple of you earlier this evening. We wanted to be here tonight to show you that we are very interested in being considered for any funds that are available. With the addition of those funds, we would be able to finish the final stages of expanding our playground. We started working on this project a couple years ago, raising money, and we were able to complete one of the two stages in March of this year. Buckland Mills has the highest enrollment of elementary school students in Prince William County. We have over 1,070 students at this time. We really feel that if we have a bigger playground, we would be able to better accommodate the needs of our growing student population. We have submitted the request letter and the paperwork detailing our plans to expand our playground. If you have any questions, you can ask me about it. We hope that you will strongly consider us when deciding how to distribute the funds. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity tonight to hear our request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
It's a joint effort. Good evening. My name is Paula King, and I am a Town of Haymarket resident as well as the co-president of the Tyler PTO. With me this evening is Jen Perilla, who is the principal of Tyler Elementary, Marge Hopkins, the assistant principal of Tyler Elementary, Kristen Solberg, co-president and Town of Haymarket resident. We have Rita Dompe, who is the member-at-large, Kara Gallagher, who's secretary and also a resident of the Town of Haymarket, and Teresa Williams, who is the treasurer and a resident of the Town of Haymarket. Before you this evening is a proposal from the Tyler PTO. We'd like you to consider using a portion of the Alexander Keepers proffer funds to fund a new computer lab at Tyler Elementary. As you can see in our proposal, our school is in desperate need of a new computer lab, as our lab has not been refreshed since 2003. If you decide to grant the Tyler PTO this funding, we will purchase the new computer lab immediately and provide a receipt for your records. Further, we have provided you with our W-9, tax records, and IRS letter declaring us a nonprofit organization. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming.
Have one that you...
I do. I received an email from Michelle Lebecki. My name is Michelle Lebecki, and I work at Haymarket Baptist Church Preschool and Kindergarten. Several weeks ago, I was sitting in a meeting with Ms. Suzanne Lee when she got information that her husband, David Leake, was going to be making a much-needed trip to New York. David's company had provided a generator that he had offered to take up to the people hit by the hurricane. Finding out that he was making this trip, any of us decided to get the word out and load his truck up with as much stuff as possible. We were fortunate that Mr. Lee, his two sons, and several other generous people volunteered their time to drive all the things that we were able to get donated. In making my donation, I was never under the belief that this was an act made by the town of Haymarket. This was put forth as a friend's husband making a trip to help others. I wish that I had been able to make the trip with them in order to see the joy that all the collected items brought to those in need of them. I do not feel that Mr. Leake should be chastised for doing something so very right. He is a man that had an idea and acted on it. If only we could all be so spontaneously thoughtful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else for Citizens Time? Okay. All right. Updates. Tree dedication. We don't have Mr. Ed here, do we?
Mr. Miller is ill this evening.
Okay.
So we had an additional item. I think Councilman Fries had some questions and maybe some of the others, so hopefully it's been clarified.
Okay.
My answers to the questions have been cleared up by the email that he sent today concerning the roots of the tree and, whether or not there was going to be an addition, and the types of tree that he was considering, et cetera, even though that's still not knocked down in stone as far as which type of tree. I believe that this is kind of a dedication, so I think we should just table it until January when he can come and dedicate it.
Okay. All right. Our agenda items. Our first one is our policy and council rules and procedures.
I have a motion. I motion that the council overrule the mayoral veto and let it be resolved by the town council of the town of Haymarket in accordance with the town charter that the following council rules and procedures be adopted with an effective date of December 3rd, 2012.
Second.
We have a motion that's been seconded. Discussion. We'll go around the table. Mr. Aiken.
My only comment here is that, typically in a government organization, there is checks and balances, and this appears to me to primarily remove all mayoral power and put it with the council. And I don't believe that's something that we should do, and there should be some checks and balances and not have a mayor who has, that's just a figurehead.
Thank you. Mrs. Bear.
In answer to your veto points, the rules of procedure was on our agenda for the November 6th work session that you canceled. Our attorney has reviewed the policy, and as stated in our last meeting, this policy does follow our charter and state code. This policy doesn't remove or limit any powers of our mayor. They were not mayoral powers according to our charter and state code in the first place. Now, to the last point, I take great offense to the accusatory nature. The process to establish this policy, I went above and beyond and in no way, shape, or form was self-serving. The purpose of this policy is to make certain that the town council can operate in a professional manner. The fact that 4 council members were present at the September 26th work session and the mayor refused to yield to council's insistence that the work session be streamed and would not call the meeting to order is what makes this policy, as you stated in your veto, urgent. I delivered a draft copy to all 5, not selected, all 5 fellow members of the council the first week of October, asked for input, received input back from 4, made all the changes that they requested. I very clearly stated that there were no meetings, all conversations were one-on-one, and all 5 of my fellow council members received the same draft and the same request to get back to me with comments. So accusing all 6 of us of meetings, you owe everyone up here an apology, when it was very clearly stated, one-on-one conversations.
Thank you for your comment. Kat.
I have no comment.
Okay. Mary Lou.
I would like to discuss them and go over them before we do anything. I think it's just gone totally crazy out of hand. So I will not vote on it for it without discussion and going over the items. And I think we could have a work session to do that.
Milt.
I'm in favor of the policy. That's it.
Mr. Tobias.
Every council member was given ample time to review the policy. Every council member was given ample time to make comments to the author of the policy. Every council member, a lot of the council members were present at the meeting that you decided not to hold the work session where this was on the agenda. And I'm not sure why you felt that it was on the agenda last month only to be having to have a work session on it when the work session was held previously and you canceled it. So at the time, it was supposed to be held for a vote. We held it for a vote. It passed by the majority of the time. You don't agree with it, which is your right. But unfortunately, I think most folks do agree with it. And I think it's good policy.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Aiken.
No.
Bear.
Yes.
Arnis.
Yes.
Scarborough.
No.
Kenworthy.
Yes.
Ms. Buck.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, next item, welcome signs.
For the record, Mr. Mayor, if I could, for the record, Jen, he had noted that was a 4-2 vote, which is a supermajority according to the town charter, and no longer to be brought up again.
We have the ALB chair, not chair, but liaison, speak about the welcome signs, or if there's anything to...
If anybody has any questions in regards to the site plan or the sign project request, I am open to answer / get help with answers.
You got to speak
I
again.
did it.
I like the idea of trying to do this for all the entrances to the town. I mean, I know that we currently have some signs there. I especially like the paired ones where we add to just the little green Haymarket corporate limits, the welcome sign with our
The museum.
museum logo, our typical logo there. I think that looks very good and would work in nicely. As far as the ones on Interstate or the big signs over that, obviously we have to work with VDOT on those, but whatever we can do to minimize our cost and hopefully let VDOT take some of those, I'd be in favor of that.
Any other thoughts or comments on this?
Has ARB done any research on cost of the proposal? The cost of the
This is strictly
implementation?
a concept. As you can see on the last page, the next step would be to do some evaluation of what kind of costs we went through at this. Because, until we get agreement that the concept's good, let's go forward with it. The costs can't come into play until we start to figure out what the design of the signs are going to look like, because, the size of them is going to be a factor in the costs. And also, I need to work with Holly to find out what VDOT would contribute, especially since they are doing a complete redesign of the interchange of 15 and 66. We might be able to throw it in with that. Also, with the expansion of 66, they're going to be modifying the Cap Harpin Bridge. We might be able to get some funding from that. I wanted to address this as fast as possible, just so that we can get some of the funding from what VDOT is planning right now with all the construction around us.
Do we have any disagreement with the concept?
Probably agreeable with the concept. I'd like to see what the next steps would look like.
Looks like there's your approval to go to the next level. All right. Item C, the Planning Commission appointment.
I received an email today from Mr. Johnson. He was not able to attend tonight. I did not hear back from Mr. Ryan on the last couple of days.
He's right there.
Okay, hi.
I didn't see you.
Oh, okay.
I think we should discuss the appointment of that position in closed session.
Anybody have an objection to that?
I'm not opposed.
I am not opposed.
No, it's an appointment. It's okay.
Okay, all right. Agree with that and put it in executive session, closed session, appointment consideration.
Yeah, questions for this one.
All right. Consideration of ordinance to amend 30-8.
This was brought to my attention many, many months ago by someone who actually lived in Sterling, who sent an email to the council at the time, and unfortunately it got overlooked and bypassed, but it had to do with pertaining to updating our town code as it related to the Virginia State Code, as in regards to operating of essentially air guns on private property and not being able to restrict that any longer, whereas our code did still restrict that. So I asked that Jen forward it to Lisa to bring our code into compliance with the state code, and I believe what we have is a blued, marked-up copy that would make some modifications. That I had just one or two small questions for Lisa that I didn't get to ask at the work session. Should subsection A not have a disclaimer saying notwithstanding the provisions of subsection B? Specifically, because basically it says it's unlawful to discharge. Or you struck it right. Never mind. I didn't have a marked copy of my one. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
And then the only other, causing a projectile from crossing the bounds of the property, should we specify that with the permission of both property owners, that would be okay? Because if you have adjoining property and you and your neighbor are okay with said operation, and you're taking every precaution as to not cause a danger to others' properties, it should be legal. Sorry.
I see what you're saying, the last thing.
Right. Because there's a bunch of surrounding property that is, some people's property backs up to fields that are other private properties, and if you're playing, kids are playing, or if adults are playing, and they're on the adjoining properties, I don't think it should be a problem, so long provided it's private property and you have permission from the landowner. And the third thing I wanted to ask was
So
whether or
you're
not,
saying crossing the bounds of the property?
with permission of both landowners. And then lastly is, should we add an age?
That's covered with, I think, with permission of the owner language.
It says to prevent the projectile from crossing the bounds of the property. If it crosses onto my property, onto your property, but you said it's okay, I've still crossed the property. And thirdly is, should we put an age restriction on there as the state code has, which is supervision for those under the age of 16?
You can add that if you want.
State code has, may require supervision by a parent, guardian, or other adult supervisor appointed by a parent or guardian of any minor below the age of 16. Now, all uses of pneumatic air guns on private property.
Okay, we can add that.
So I would go with supervision for children, children, minor children.
Yeah.
And however you guys all feel about it, whether or not Lisa decides we need to have the adjoining private property.
I think you're covered, but if you want me to tweak the last.
You're the attorney, I'll take your word.
Line
It's on you.
As long as I'm still allowed to pop a BB gun into a groundhog, I'm happy.
As long as you have permission from both property owners.
I can tweak
It's
the
my
language to
property.
add the supervision.
Can you tweak it this evening, or shall we do it in January? Motion table till January. Great.
Fantastic.
All right. Vote.
There's a motion. We got a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Appropriation, Town Center property.
We had a request from one of our tenants upstairs to expand into another area that's adjacent to them and vacant now. We had done some preliminary negotiation with the company, Excellent Technology Solutions. We developed a little bit of a build-out plan that would allow them to expand into those offices. The The preliminary agreement also included a change in the rental agreement that would make all of the, actually 4 offices that are included rented at $23 a square foot. Councilman Tobias asked me to look at that situation a little more and talk to the owner of the company, which I have now done. But actually, there are 2 owners, and I talked to him about some concern about how much the town would be giving away if we went with this particular preliminary arrangement. So we'll be getting together again this week after he's had a chance to talk with his partner. I do have one quote for the build-out, and I think in terms of appropriation, we probably, no matter how it ends up getting paid for, we likely will end up paying and then being reimbursed for some portion of it. At least that's one of the things I'm asking for. So what I'm suggesting tonight is that the council appropriate the $3,500. I do have two other quotes that aren't in yet for the build out, and so I know it won't be any higher than that, and it may actually be a little bit lower than that.
Okay. Do you have a motion or some discussion on this?
I'll start the motion. I'll make the motion that the town council approve the transfer of the $3,500 from the general reserve to the town center property line item, and it's further recommended that the town council appropriate the following amount from the town center property line item for the build-out of tenant space on the 2nd floor of Town Hall.
Second?
Motion's been second. Discussion.
You want to say up to 3,500?
Up to $3,500.
Okay.
Seeing no discussion, we'll go for a roll call vote.
Aiken?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Harness?
Yes.
Barber?
Yes.
Kenworthy?
Yes.
Kinsler?
Yes.
Right.
We also have some interest in the school building at the back northwest corner of the property, as you already have heard tonight. There are a couple of other issues related to that property that I'd like to discuss with the council, so I'm recommending that we discuss it in closed session tonight.
Okay. All right. We'll put that on the list there, Ms. Lisa. Closed session item. Okay. Item number B, appropriations. Alexander Keeps Proffers.
At the request of the town attorney, I motion that we unfortunately table this until the January meeting to allow her to verify the legality of what we want to do.
Second.
Motion's been second. Discussion.
I don't know, did everybody get the email this afternoon?
I didn't
from
see it.
Ms. Baird?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, yes, I did.
Essentially, and I'll let you elaborate if I get it wrong, but there may or may not be a problem with us giving the money directly to the parent-teacher organizations or the school organizations directly for projects that they deem that each individual school needs. There may be part of the state law statute which says that we have to give it to the school board in its entirety, which is what we're trying to avoid. I think council is unanimous in their desire to give the money equally to the schools, the 5 schools that represent the residents of the town and serve the children of the town. And we hope we can do that. But unfortunately, we can't make any further decisions on this until we get legal advice. So greatly appreciate you guys coming out, and believe me, we want to do it. It's just a matter of we don't want it to backfire on anybody's hands.
So the concern is that it's going to like an organization that might not use it for those specific, but it sounds like we have a different, at least a need of tangible things, playground equipment. So this sounds like it's market head on as far as what we're looking to accomplish
I was
there.
hoping
It's
to
what we
even-
want to accomplish.
Yeah, okay.
It's what we want to
I'm just asking that
accomplish.
we
yes.
table this to January.
Okay.
And I did send out an email today.
Because we may have to schedule a public hearing in order to disperse the funds the way we want to. So-
Correct.
Let's do it right.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm just concerned about the process, not what you intended to do, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. Hopefully, everybody in the audience understands that too. So any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming out.
Thank you, folks.
Streetscape appropriations.
I just realized that the invoices that I'm asking for payment aren't attached, but when we talked about this at the agenda work session, I was asked to go back and look at the total amount that we've paid to Attorney Dudley during the process of this condemnation process. To date, we have paid legal service expenses in the amount of $55,109. The council has actually appropriated a total of $62,500, so we do have enough to pay the two invoices which are in-house now, and I'm sorry they aren't attached. I believe that the total there was a little under $6,000. It'll leave a balance of $1,055 left for us. Mr. Dively had told me that he feels like he should be done with everything related to these cases by the end of December. I'm not sure if that's really doable, but I had suggested to him the next time that he gives us an invoice that it be the last one that we would get from him. The only outstanding issue may be the Dottie Leonard case, which I'm not sure we're going to be able to settle before the end of the year. And then there's another two properties owned by the Contrucci's, and we're actually working with them on a site plan arrangement that we think will take care of that issue. So we are rapidly nearing the end of this process, and I'm trying to get it completed as quickly as possible. But we do have enough money to pay these two invoices, but I did want the council to be aware there's probably going to be one more, and I have no idea at this point what the cost of that invoice will be. As you can see from the list, they're running in the range generally of about $4,000 to $6,000 per bill.
Well, given that we've already made the appropriation for the, in this particular year, of July of 2012, you really need no action from us. You have to pay our bills.
Exactly.
So you don't need any action from us until we get the next set of bills and we need more money.
That's right. I just wanted to make
Appreciate
sure
the
everybody knew.
update, as I asked for.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But you don't need any action from us.
Okay. Department reports. Museum, we
We
can
want to
see.
do the appropriations.
Oh, yes, ma'am,
For-
I'm sorry.
In regards to appropriations, I'd like to make a motion to approve funding from the general reserve not to exceed $4,000 to be used for Christmas bonuses for the staff and distributed in tiered fashion based on seniority as shown in the council-approved tiered sheet to be given to the town manager.
Second.
Point of
We have a
order.
motion that's been seconded. Now
Point
we
of
have
order, you have
discussion.
to modify the agenda first before you can make that motion. That's not an agenda item. You have to get the consent of council to add it to the agenda before you can add it as a topic.
Mrs. Baird, your opinion on this matter?
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, so if someone wants to, you can amend it now if you choose to.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll second the amendment.
Make a motion to amend the agenda to add appropriation item D.
We have been second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call, please.
Has to be a roll call vote.
Has to be a roll call. to
This
amend
is
the
just
agenda.
for.
To amend the
To
agenda,
amend the
it has to
agenda,
be
you
a
need a roll call vote.
Go ahead, Jen.
Bacon?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Harness?
Yes.
Scarborough?
Yes.
Kenworth?
Yes.
And Spies?
No.
Okay. The motion passes, so the agenda has been amended. Now we go back to the original motion
Your motion.
to,
She motioned, I seconded.
okay. And we have any discussion on this? Okay, roll call vote, please.
I'm not sure what the original motion was. I was trying to get the proper procedure.
It's all recorded. That's the reason why she doesn't write any of them down.
What was the total dollar amount of your motion, Kat?
Not to exceed $4,000.
To be divided amongst and determined by whom?
It was divided based on seniority, as shown in the tiered sheet that we reviewed earlier. And will be given to the...
Jabus.
What tiered sheet did we review earlier? Sorry, I was entertaining dumpsters.
That can be passed there. And it's tiered based on seniority.
Seniority and position.
Any
To
further
include
discussion?
contractors?
I thought that was a nice gesture.
I just, you know my feeling on this,
Okay.
Rebecca, and unfortunately, I don't want you to even donate the car right now because of the trying times in the economy, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think this is an appropriate use of the townspeople's revenue.
All right. Any further
Nothing
discussion?
Against I'll finish my sentence, and then you can
Sorry.
call for the vote, Mr. Mayor. Nothing against our staff or our employees or our contractors. I just don't think it's appropriate use of public funds. Never have.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Aiken.
Yes.
Dare.
Yes.
Ernest.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Kenworthy.
Yeah.
Rice.
Negative.
Okay, motion passes. All right, now we move on to museum report. We saw that Ms. Crane's not available. So report, we'll go up to police report. You're up, sir.
Oh, I get to go first?
Absolutely.
Where do we stand on the request that was made to us by your liaison representative last month in regards to obtaining bulletproof vests for the men of the police department who do not have them? And at what cost will that be to us? And have you pursued grants or other options for those vests?
We are pursuing a possible donation for all of them with no cost to the town. I do not know when it's going to be finalized, but as soon as I do know, I'll let you know.
That's great.
Good news.
Request to step up the enforcement of the no parking zone on Hunting Path, please. Continues to be an issue, especially now that it gets darker earlier. Lots of people making that turn into Hunting Path, and two-way traffic becomes a problem when you have people parked illegally on the eastern side of the road. I know that a number of people have expressed concerns about that.
We'll take care of it.
Have you ever gotten any phone calls about that? I mean, it just seems like if citizens have these complaints, do we get any response? No? No one's called to say to complain that, hey, we've got calls parked in the no parking? Okay.
Also to step up any of the cut-through traffic from Town Hall 2 and Long Street. I've seen them out there a couple of times, but it still happens every day, multiple times a day.
Okay.
Might want to step up the intersection where the bike path is for cars cutting over there.
It's my understanding that it's actually, according to Deputy Chief, it's actually not, he once said that it was not illegal, in his opinion, for a car to, if a car was waiting to make a left-hand turn, for the car behind them to go over to the right a bit and proceed around that car, provided their wheels do not touch the curb. Is that your understanding of the traffic laws of the state of
I would
Virginia
have
as
to
well?
talk with Lisa on this one. That's not my opinion.
That's what Greg's opinion was when I asked him about it, because I asked him the same concern
When I
about
saw
people.
this on an agenda, Greg and I have talked, and we're going to try to do the passing on the right now at the bike lane, just step up enforcement that way and see.
I've also seen a
Yeah,
lot.
because there's a line now.
Right.
There's an actual bike path line there, which would
Right.
be illegal to cross.
Yeah,
Right.
where there hasn't been in the past, so if there's issues, I think we can try to enforce it that way.
I've seen a lot of close calls coming through that intersection by people doing this. And somebody's going to get hurt when you pass.
I agree.
Okay.
I do have a question for you, sir. Your old cruiser, condition-wise, I understood, is there a lot of work that's been done recently on that?
No, sir.
No?
160,000 miles. Pretty good shape.
Right, because it's been maintained. I mean,
Yes, sir.
things that you've had problems with. Right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Any other questions for the chief? Thank you, sir, for coming out. Mr. Lowry. Any questions for Mr. Lowry?
Item number 3, stormwater sewer along Jefferson Street, concerns regarding sinking sidewalk in front of the Red House. So what was your action? Plan of action on that?
The town manager is writing a letter to the land property owner to have it fixed. It's not a building code issue, it's a state issue.
Okay. And item number 5, upscale, rescale, Madison Street for occupancy. Occupancy is approved pending installation of a handicap ramp in front of store. It's my understanding that that is a subleased business inside of the building that already had an occupancy permit. My question is why, if the building itself already had an occupancy permit for a business that was in existence?
Well, that's
in
the
there?
problem, that's the
Can I
problem the
finish?
council has had
Sorry.
for the last 10, 15 years. It's don't issue an occupancy unless the building official has looked at the occupancy to be sure it's a second.
Can I finish my sentence?
Yes.
My question was, if there was already occupancy on the building, why does the change of the business owner?
The building code says you will spend 20% of the cost of construction every time you do work on the building to comply with payment. All I asked for was a simple 2-before ramp.
What work was being done on the building?
They reoccupy the building.
I must have misheard you a second ago. You said 20% of all new work through the building has to be done for handicap.
20% of work has to be spent to upgrade the building. In other words, because somebody's moving into it, the state law requires 20% of the owner of that building to spend toward upgrading the building to meet handicap requirements. And money was spent. There was a ramp there previously. The second or third tenant ago, there was a ramp there. Somebody's tore the 2-befores up with a piece of plywood. It's only about 2.5 inches tall. If you really wanted to hold the wire to it, I could stop it from occupying it completely because a wheelchair can't get anywhere inside the building. Once you go through the back door, which is legal, approved, that's as far as you can go. Or as you can walk.
Okay.
That's the issue. There's no wheelchairs acceptable to move through the inside. It's not wide enough.
To not waste anybody else's time, I'll talk to you after the meeting about that because I'm still not clear on exactly. I don't think you're clear on my question, so I'll ask you again later.
Well, I understand your question.
I don't think you do because I'm not getting an answer from it, so I'll ask you again later.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Lowry, based on his report?
The only question, the only thing I will bring up to you is we are moving in the forward direction of the Snyder's Baseball Sports Center going in at the industrial park. I've seen their plans and their permits should be issued this week. If not, it has been already possible. They are going to do some work. The owner of the building's got to do some upgrades to the building. He's very willing to do so. You just need to know what they were, and we told them that, so they proceed with those. I don't have anything else.
I did have one question for you, Mr. Lowry. The two new buildings that we renovated with these metal roofs, those ice blockers, that's a safety issue or whatever. Plus, I noticed we don't have any. Is that something that we should be doing, and definitely before winter?
I'm going to have to check on it. I had a homeowner call me about that this week. I'm not sure there's any responsibility for us to put them up anymore at all. I'm not going to confirm that until I ask them in place.
Okay.
I'll get into the book and find out what it says on it.
Okay. Maybe it's a major practicality because they understand if ice gets in the gutter, that can really cause pulling the gutter away. That kind of helps keep them contained back. Okay, all right.
Jay, if you will give me a call this week, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. Unless you got time to do it now.
I'll run outside because the next issues I'm okay with. I don't have any question
Okay.
about.
And to let the council know, as town manager is aware, I'm going under surgery Thursday morning. And I have a full team of people scheduled to come in and do the inspections as necessary. My wife is taking over full administration of this permits and everything else, so it's all worked up. Our contractors are working fine. DR Horton is building houses so fast we don't have to worry about it. We're going to run out of land and sell houses off of it.
That's a good thing.
It'll all be all right.
Okay.
Best of health and good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Town managers report.
I am getting bids on completing the work at the old post office. It's taken me a little bit longer than I thought. I've had a little bit of trouble finding people who are willing to bid on work here, not just that, but upstairs. I don't know if business is that good, exactly what's happened. I have gotten the names of some additional contractors, and I'll be finishing that up, I hope, over the next few days.
Okay.
But I just wanted to go back through and make sure that we had the best prices possible for that. Also, for the council's information, I will be submitting a request for a waiver of the requirement that we put the utility lines underground there. And the reason is, it looks like the cost of that utility being put underground is going to be something, I don't have exact numbers now, but it looks like it's going to be something in excess of $5,000 or $6,000. Putting it overhead back where it was before, there is no cost. So I'm going to recommend to the Planning Commission next week that they grant a waiver for us to not put the connection underground, and I expect that it will be coming back to the council at the January meeting. It won't stop us from going ahead and doing all the internal electrical work on the building. It just means that we won't be able to connect until we get all the proper approvals.
Do we have a tenant that's looking at this yet, or still nothing?
I have a couple people who have looked at it, but I haven't really had anybody who has what I believe to be the financial wherewithal to move into this, and that we could be confident they're going to be there for a number of years.
Okay.
It's mostly startup kind of things that people are just looking for space, and they don't really want to pay the fees that or the square footage costs that we're hoping to get.
Okay.
The Assist accounting system is moving along, again, a little bit slower than we had hoped. Our accounting consultant, Mary Earhart, was not really able to give us much help over the last couple of months, but she is going to be here at least 2 days in December. We're working with her now to get in and make sure that we're on the right track with all the work we're doing. We will be able to do payroll in January, but it likely will be February before we complete all the modules and are ready to go live with the whole system.
Okay.
As you recall, we got construction bids for the streetscape project. Let me back up and say, Holly has been sick for the last 2 weeks and really hasn't had a chance to do some of the review that we were hoping she could do on a couple of these items. So she's really just starting to do the analysis of the construction bids, and we're getting the help of VDOT to help us look at them too. We were a little bit disappointed at what came in. I thought they were a little bit high, and that's what her analysis is going through right now to see if our engineering estimates were not right, or if there was something in the bid that maybe the bidders picked up wrong. So that's the type of analysis we're doing now. The striping on the streets is complete.
Yep.
The pedestrian improvement project, same situation. Holly has not had a chance to review, and so our selection committee has not met yet, but I hope we will be able to meet within the next week or so and come up with a recommendation for the council. There was a meeting today, an update on the I-66 widening project and also the interchange project. The dates are slipping on the widening project. The notice of award now looks like it's probably going to be in the May timeframe, and construction now looks like it will start in January or February of 2014. So it has moved back significantly since what we originally thought. The I-66 Route 15 interchange, the next event will be another public hearing. That will be in mid-March of 2013, and certainly we will get plenty of notification about that.
Any questions from Mr. Swearingen?
Would it make sense to have him look at the intersection here that, is it Mr. Lurson?
Ken? Yeah.
Was commenting on, to see if maybe VDOT might give us some guidance and possibly might do some work for us?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, if that's an appropriate thing to do, I would think that's our first step, to see if we can get them to see, is that a good idea, should that be done, and maybe they might do it for us.
Good point.
You're talking about getting VDOT to okay well, we'd have to have VDOT do anything other than it's...
Well, yeah, we'd have to have them at least approve it, but maybe they might say, oh, yeah, that makes sense, and who knows, if we ask, maybe they'll pay for it and do it for us, to put up those poles, if that's the right thing to do. Or maybe they might have a different idea from other intersections they've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think it's worth a look.
All right.
Doesn't hurt bad.
Great. Okay. Treasurer's report. Any comments?
That looks good to me.
Mr. License?
I have a question for Gene, who's currently occupied.
Any comments on the budget then?
Well, it kind of was commingled. It has to do with the old post office building and what we were talking about last time we all met concerning the electric power supply.
Yeah, it was discussed. I think you were over here.
What was the answer?
Just that he wants to get a waiver.
Planning commission.
Yeah.
Meeting.
A waiver from the planning commission, so it's going to go back on them and then come back to the council.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because that was the only thing I saw in the budget that we had to have a concern about. Shall we go to executive session?
Yep. I think we got, 2 items?
Citizen time 2, the sheriff wants your
Yes.
wife would like to talk to us about.
Any other citizen time? Okay.
Did we reverse that? Didn't last month, wasn't it closed session, then we had the other citizens' time, or? I thought it was after we went into closed session.
I think we had changed it just so that the citizens
wouldn't
weren't
have to wait
sitting
around.
waiting
Right.
for us.
Right, to give them another chance to talk on what was discussed prior to executive
That
session.
makes sense.
Just kind of a courtesy. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask that you move into closed session under 2.2-3711A1 for discussion, consideration, assignment, appointment of a specific public appointee, more specifically the Planning Commission appointment, candidates for Planning Commission appointment, and also under 2.2-3711A3, discussion or consideration of the disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, and more specifically, the town-owned property behind the town hall.
We have a so moved on this?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Here we go.
Gene, do you have copies of that lease proposal with you?
Yes.
For all of us?
I've got copies for you.
still eating?
No.
No, he's
Little poison.
predisposed.
Oh, okay.
Indisposed.
He can't. Never mind.
Don't feed milk at council meetings going forward. By the way, Jen, where did you relocate my binder? Where was my binder? Because Sherry couldn't find it, but I knew I left it here. You were couldn't find it. She couldn't find it last month. Well, you took it on your cruise just to have some memories. Nostalgia.
Did you just leave that on the cruise ship or in one of your ports?
Threw it overboard.
She
That
brought
would
it
be
back,
my guess.
and it smells like Peru.
Okay, we'll call this back to order.
I'd ask that council certify under 2.23712D that the closed session tonight is only for public business matters lawfully exempted from FOIA rules chapter, and only some public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the public body.
So moved.
Second.
I'll say each of the,
Yes.
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 No, you
Kenworthy.
have to certify executive session first.
We're waiting on you, sir.
Were you only in executive?
Just say yes.
Certify executive session.
Yes.
Yes, certified.
I motion to appoint Christopher Johnson to the Planning Commission for the term ending June 30th, June 2014.
Second.
Motion's been second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Aiken.
No.
Fair.
Yes.
Furnace.
Yes.
Scarborough.
No.
Kenworthy.
Yes.
Tobias.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Would you please send a letter of thanks for his consideration and interest to Mr. Diane, please, on behalf of the entire council?
And everything else was a directive, I believe. There's no motion that needs to come out of other items. We'll move on to council another time. Mr. Aiken?
Everything already came up that I wanted to discuss with the police department. I guess the only other item is I did do a ride-along with two of the officers in the last month, and found that to be very informative, just to understand their procedures a little better and how they do their job. That's all.
Okay. Ms. Bear?
The Planning Commission would like an opinion from Town Council. The PC and the ARB are supposed to be working together and looking into the COG, the Certified Local Government. One of the first keys for even applying for this is you have to have very delineated boundaries for your historic district. That would, of course, involve shrinking our historic district. So I know that councils in the past have had issue with it. So before we waste everyone's time and moving forward, if council has no desire to consider a historic overlay district rather than the entire town, so we need some council input on that.
I do not have any history on this, so I'm not sure I have an opinion just as yet.
Well,
Maybe we can get back to it at our next meeting?
okay. Next.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Would you ask the chair of the PC to send the council an email explaining what all that meant?
Okay.
For everyone to be up to speed. That
Okay.
way, we're not just looking at you in January and saying, now, what does that exactly mean? That way, we can actually come prepared.
Okay.
Thank you. Prior to the work session would be great.
Jen, are we getting those updates that, like that's something that you had suggested, like a week after the meetings that keeps you up to date? No. Okay.
And next, I'd like to address a point from citizens' time. I couldn't agree with your wife more. It was just beyond irreprehensible for someone to send a copy of my memo to Mr. Rome. However, it wasn't me. From what I was told from the reporter, you took a picture of my memo and emailed it to him. You then had your interview, and then Mr. Rome called me for comments. So I could not agree with your wife more. Anyone that would be so despicable just to create drama, to send that forward to a reporter, really should step down, Mayor Leach.
Thank you for your comment. Ms. Pat?
I have no comments at this time.
Very good.
I would like the town to look into this. You have to take one off there and put some cash in this way. It's just a recycling program. It's nothing. Don't everybody get all worried. I think it'd be good for the town, good for the citizens, encourage them to recycle more. I just found out about it and went to look into it, and our town wasn't signed up.
Was that the old company? I remember one
No,
of
it's
them
not a
had me.
company, it's a organization where if you recycle, you get points, and you can get gift cards and other things. So it really encourages it. It sounds like an awesome program.
Was this what that little device is on our recycling bin?
Well, there's supposed to be
That they can
a
scan?
number, like a code, that you can put in when you register. You can register the town's cans here, so the town could get money. You can register your own, and every time they dump it, you get credits go in a bank, and then you can turn them in, or you can give them to your community. You can get gift cards. You can.
Does this
use them
cost us
however you want.
anything?
I do not think so. Not from what I could find out, but I don't know how the town gets involved. So we have to, if you could check it out and see what we have to do, but they say the town has to make the motion to join or to have the town involved, and then the residents can join. Okay?
That's awesome. People start stealing each other's saying, say, that's my credit.
You never know.
Where's my aluminum cans?
Mr. Kenworthy, anything?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on the Sandy storm. We had a police department out there that did a dynamite job. I couldn't have gotten down home if they hadn't come by and cut the tree out. So, and I know other areas that they served, and even assisted the county police well, and they were busy all night long out there. Did a dynamite job. So therefore, I think, as far as our town looking out for our people, was really fantastic.
You're doing a good job, absolutely. Mr. Tobias?
We'd like to ask Mr. Aiken to please check with the chief and provide a report back to council at the next meeting on where the exploratory stage of the accreditation status of the town police department stand. It's been going on now for well over 2 years, and we've never heard an update back from it.
I wasn't even aware we were doing that.
I figured you weren't.
That never came up in my conversations with
I
them.
figured it didn't. It's my belief that it was something that was just said a few years back, and to give. I don't think we're really following through, nor do I really think we shall. But I'm curious as to if we are.
So we're not trying to get accreditation, we were trying to figure out what it takes.
I'll finish my sentence. We were apparently pursuing accreditation status, unbeknownst to the council, until it was brought up to the council and then asked of the chief. And we were told we were pursuing it. We're not sure what, we were not told exactly what the cost would be, what the time commitment would be, what the outlay would be, and/or what the benefit would be. And it kind of just sort of died. There were some sidebar conversations about it, but there was concern on the council at the time as to the time commitment that it would take to become accredited, what it would really do, and how it would be a time constraint going forward, or a paperwork or logistical constraint. It's my knowledge that it's a very arduous task to become accredited and to maintain accreditation, and we weren't really sure, a department of the size, where the benefit was. And there were some concerns on council that it was a proper use of resources at the time.
Okay.
And so, since it's sort of been a quiet subject, I'd like to see an update on that. If you could get it from the PD, that'd be great.
Sure.
It's really all I got too, because otherwise, if I say much more, it's going to be personal. I don't want it to be that way.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Go rescue.
During the discussion, I think we should listen to our town manager first.
I just have a request of the council. It turns out that I will not be here the week of the January meeting. We also would have to reschedule the work session anyway because it falls on the 1st.
Right, which is the holiday.
So I would like to request that you consider moving it to maybe the 15th or 16th. of the
Anybody have their calendars out?
We do now.
Are you out the whole
I'm out
that whole week
the
of the 7th?
Yes.
Any chance you could just bring Jen up to speed? She's probably up to speed on 98% of it anyway, but I mean,
She probably is.
I mean,
I'm open the 14th if,
we got a few issues that we're dealing with that.
The 14th is already a, do we have
Well, the
something?
14th would be a
That would be,
PC,
yeah,
but, I mean, I think that there's some issues that we're dealing with that we've already tabled till January 7th.
I think we probably would need Gene for this release information too, as this is developing.
Well, that's why we have the attorney who's going to help draft the lease. No offense. I mean,
Negotiating the
No,
lease.
yeah,
He's negotiating the lease. I mean, so how's everybody's schedules for like the following week?
I'm okay.
the week of the 14th.
Yeah.
I'm open all but the Wednesday, 'cause we've got the ARB on Wednesday.
Can't do 15th.
How about Thursday?
17?
it's a long time in between meetings. What about the week of the 1st? Instead of having it on Monday the 7th,
Yeah,
why
but then we're
not?
putting the work session.
Why not Wednesday the 3rd? I'm sorry, I was still speaking.
Yeah, but
Why
we're
not
doing the work
Wednesday?
session.
Would Wednesday the 2nd or Thursday the 3rd work for you? I mean,
The 3rd would work for me. I'm not back in town until the 2nd.
let's be honest, Mr. Mayor, the work session really hasn't really accomplished too much.
That's right, and I'll be more than willing to just say, forego it. It was an idea, thought that we could, help things out, but obviously with not the participation, which we definitely need participation, and I'll be willing to forego that. If we need extra time, let's just make a second town council meeting. So with no objections with that, we can just move on.
Second win this month?
Well, January.
January.
January
Yeah, Thursday,
3rd.
January 3rd.
3rd, that's fine.
That works for me.
Mama's birthday.
And for the sake of scheduling and the holidays, I'd say that we could agree to not hold a work session during the month of December
For
for
the
the
January,
January meeting.
For the January meeting, just cancel the work.
Cancel the work
Don't
session for the
schedule- yeah.
January meeting.
Okay.
I don't, well,
Go
the
ahead.
3rd really doesn't work for me, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to,
How about the 2nd?
I'm not
doesn't
in
work
town.
for
You're not
Count.
going to be in town.
yeah.
4th?
Friday the 4th?
I just don't want to go another 2 weeks
Friday the
from
4th.
that.
Friday will not work for me either.
Okay.
Monday the 7th?
Monday the 7th is what it's
Monday
supposed
the
to be.
7th is the first week he was supposed to
Steve
do
will
it.
smile big for you for the camera and you can watch.
I'm sorry, what were you?
Is there no time on the 3rd that works for you at all? I mean, if we did
It's my
7:30?
twin daughter's 21st birthday.
Yeah, that's
You going out to do
They're-
shots? They don't have to till 10 o'clock.
They're expecting to go out and have a family dinner.
Understood.
Have a daddy designated driver.
So Gene, you're out for the total 7th through the 11th, correct?
Yes.
So we're really talking about the 17th. We made these long times before.
I really like the
Yeah.
3rd.
I really would prefer the first week of January.
The 3rd fine with me.
Yeah, but it's not for...
It's not for Steve.
Steve.
Well, you
Yeah,
can't
You can't always
satisfy
appease
everyone.
everybody.
No, we do. We can appease everybody. We
Kat,
just
does
need
the
to
3rd
look
work for
and see.
you?
3rd works for me.
There's your majority.
Yeah, but we're not looking for majority. We're looking for what's right for the council, and we're looking for to make sure
Dave,
that everybody's...
it's what's right for the residents. I mean, to wait another 2 weeks after that to have a meeting on the 17th, that's a long time in between things. We've got a number of things that are...
Well, I think
I'm not
if
available
that-
on the
if that's-
17th.
If that's the options, I say then we forgo Gene and we keep Steve, because that would make it.
Well, that's what I first tried to say, and you said no to that.
Well, it's because I think he's got some...
Do you want to have your
valuable
cake, or
input.
do you want to eat it too?
I want to, and what's so wrong with one more week? Is the real
God, didn't we
question.
motion to adjourn?
I say the 3rd or the 7th.
Just keep it on the 7th.
Just keep it on the 7th. Gene can't be here, Gene can't be here.
Okay,
Heaven
that's
forbid he
good.
fell down and broke his leg and couldn't be here that night, you know?
Well, that's an exception, obviously.
Well, you know
Okay.
what, so is this.
7th.
Maybe have a report for everybody. I think maybe-
Okay, so do you still want to have the work session in December then, Jay? Since the meeting's back on
Yeah,
the
if the
7th.
meeting's back on site, then we can have the work session on Wednesday the 2nd.
There we go.
I
Can't
thought you
do-
said we weren't doing this anymore.
Well, that's
No, we weren't doing
we weren't gonna do it
December's.
for
We
January
were
because we were
moving
going to push the meeting
Yes.
forward. But if we're going to have if we're going to have the meeting on the 7th, we can have the work session on the 2nd.
Can everybody attend the 2nd?
I'm on an airplane.
Can anybody who normally attends attend the 2nd?
And that is the work session on the 2nd.
I don't know if I'll be back in town or
I'll be
not.
working.
If I'm here, I'll be here as usual. If
You
I'm
might not have quorum.
Then I'll,
I can try to be there.
You don't need quorum for a work session.
You don't need a quorum for a work session. Under new policy says the work session is the Tuesday before council. So,
like I said, if I'm here, I'll be here. If
Exactly.
I'm not, I'm not.
So the 2nd and then the 7th.
exactly.
For a second time, I moved to adjourn.
I'll second that again.
Jen, will you note those dates on the website, please? The 2nd for the work session, the 7th for the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.